So welcome everybody to Workforce Wednesday. Today our topic is the Career Navigator's Perspective, working with internationally trained professionals. And our presenter today is Maria Anaya. I would like to welcome our presenter, Marie Anaya. So Marie is a veteran educator with 31 years in the K through 12 public education. Marie taught special education students for 17 years before becoming an administrator. She worked in many different units that dealt with students who had learning disabilities, autism, that was severe and profound, and those with behavioral problems. Her administrative years were all in middle school and high school. After her retirement, Marie's passion brought her to adult education, where she has served the past 4 years.
I would like to start off by letting everyone know my experience comes from working at YCLC, which is one of 3 campuses that makes up the Far West Adult Education Consortium. Approximately 1,900 students are served by our consortium. Our program currently serves approximately 700 students. My hope today is that you will be able to adapt my resources for your program. Your program could be smaller, your program could be bigger. You could have a part-time career navigator, you could have a full-time career navigator, or you could have more career navigators. The first part of my presentation is just an overview of one program's protocols, and I want to really emphasize that. Here at the Athletic Community Adult Learning Center, these are the program protocols that we use. The second part of my presentation will be how does the actual career navigator implement those protocols? So it's the nitty-gritty. What I will do is at the midpoint, I will try, I'm going to just keep my timing to take as many questions about the protocols as I can, and then move into the second portion. I would like to first start off with giving you a testimonial of one of our students. She just completed in July the ESL for Professionals course, where her degree was evaluated. She's still with us. She is trying to complete her Microsoft Office Specialist certification. So here is Eunice Torres.
My name is Eunice Torres, and I am a dentist. English for Professional is one of the best programs here in El Paso. I love it because this program helped me to improve my English, learn terminology for my area, for my field, and help me to develop my skills, learning how to get a good communication with the patients. She's really wonderful. She's passionate and she's loving person. Next, I want to get my Microsoft certification next semester. After that, on 2022, I want to get my TOEFL course. And in the meantime, I want to teach older adults or work with a nonprofit organization.
I know it's difficult when you don't know the person in the video, but this is my passion. And I am so excited to talk about her because just last night, she came to tell me that she had passed her second test on Microsoft Office. So she has passed Word and PowerPoint, and she needs one more. But the best thing that she could have shared with me was that, and I'm going to read this because it's so new to me. She met an organization here in El Paso, Texas. It's called Vino Nuevo, which means a newcomer. And remember in her video, and that's very important for a career navigator to pay attention to. She wants to take the TOEFL. She wants to earn her Microsoft Office, but she does not want to lose her passion, which is dentistry. And she wants to work for a nonprofit because she knows that's probably where she's going to be able to do her magic. With meeting this group, she has now been hired with a group called Vision Global, which is a nonprofit organization. She's leaving and spending 6 weeks in Africa as a dentist. So here I am all excited to tell her, great, oh my gosh, this is wonderful. Oh, but don't forget, you need to hook up. You are constantly trying to network so that you can continue being with people that will allow you to do your magic. So in order for us to do our magic, working with internationally trained professionals is a team effort. In our campus, there's 7 major role players. And I'm not going to say not one of us is more important than the other. And as a career navigator, this is my perspective. If all of these people are not doing their parts, then I'm working way too hard to try to polish. If all of my teammates are doing their part, I get the greatest job ever, and that is just to polish. So I'm going to start off with the program director and the program specialist. They have to be the people that are investigating, researching, networking, and ultimately being supportive. Here at my campus, if I didn't have a supportive director, I don't think anybody can even do this job right now. This is not the norm for a career navigator to present. I just have to work later. And so it all works out because we have students in the morning, we have students in the evening, and he really lets me do my own thing. A registration team. Now this has to be the people that are really driving everything. They see the student first. They have to know some key words to be able to identify an ITP student. And so they don't have to know all the details. They just need to know who to ask them to talk to. And it could be the director, it could be the program specialist, it could be the career navigator, it could be the instructional specialist. It doesn't matter. We're a team just to get them placed in the right place. The third group is the instructional specialist. The instructional specialist has to develop a strong curriculum because the teacher has to put forth the curriculum. And this is the only way the student is going to be able to leave our program doing well. So they have to work on language. They have to work on academics. They have to work on technology because technology is a lot of times more advanced in our country than in the countries that they're coming from. They have to work on EL civics. How do you maneuver in a new country? Financial planning. Do they know about Social Security? What does financial planning mean? Even we don't know. We're always asking someone who just is a little above us. Career pathways. You know, sometimes it's a little sad. They don't get to ever practice their degree in the United States. They're going to either have to start school all over again or choose a different career. But it's our job as career navigators to make them feel like this could be a great thing. We all start over sometimes. Legal systems, they have big stories. And so we have to maneuver through the big stories, and that does include the legal system. Transcript evaluation. Our campus does the evaluations. We do pay for the evaluations. I know that's not possible for every program. And it's just, you have to give them access to be able to learn that they can do it on their own as well. Professional networking, they have to keep going on their networking, just like UNICE. And career exploration. We're constantly career exploring. That's not it for our team. We have a budget agent. And you would say, what? A budget agent's going to need to know about ITPs? They do. Because on our campus, they are going to have to be working directly with the director and making sure that the director knows the finances to be able to plan for this program so that we can have their documents transliterated. They also have to know enough about the program to be able to communicate with the credentialed provider, because the credential provider will be talking to them and saying, missing this part. You're going to have to go back and get that part. So then the budget agent comes back with me as the career navigator, and we get the credential provider what they need. A teaching staff. We're lucky there too. We have a teacher who was an ITP, and her passion, I wish that on the video that Eunice was talking about me, but she wasn't. She was really talking about her teacher, because her teacher is passionate about making sure they learn everything possible so that they can be successful. What about a career navigator? As a career navigator, we are all of those things: a great communicator, a coach, a motivator, student supportive, ability to remove all of the barriers for our ITP employment, getting them the resources they need, the tools, training, even if the training is not going to be offered at your organization. But can we do it all? Man, I'm tired, and I know you are. But if you think of all of those things, could we agree to one word? I want to say we create a very safe environment for our students to be able to share all of their needs. Do you think that you can agree that you might not be able to do all of this, but you can create a safe environment? That's our 7 major role players. Now that you have your 7 major role players, what's next? What can we do next with these people, with all of us? This is the easiest slide ever. Working with internationally trained professionals, we have to be a team that operates under the same goal. And even if your organization works together to collaborate to come up with this goal, it's great. If your program director is the one who came up with the goal, that's okay too. Just as long as the wheel is going together, we're all traveling in the same direction with the same end in mind. And that is to give them access, remove all of the barriers, advocate for them, provide them opportunities everywhere you go, with working with work boards or working with the student. Navigate. You have to constantly be career planning with them. Connecting, setting them up for the next steps. You have to connect them, because if they just come to your classes and then they leave and there's no connection, I don't know if they'll do it by themselves, just because of the newness of being in a new country. Access. Access is identifying them. Working with Office of New Americans, that's really new for us. Workforces, that's your boards. Educational programs, individual businesses. These are all the people that you have to work with, and they have to work with you, and that's how we give them access. Teaching them English. If we do not teach them English, a lot of things will end for them. They have to be those bilingual people. Helping them understand how to navigate in the US, the educational program needs to do that. Transliterating their degrees, that is teaching them they have to do it on their own, or the program providing it for them. Advocate. Same group of people, just little different things. The workforce has to be an advocate too. We have to constantly be reminding them what they are, but they have to be searching for jobs for them. AL programs, we have to not just say, oh, our program's great, our curriculum is great, we don't need to change anything. It's got to be ever changing, and tweak it and tweak it and tweak it. Internships, provide them opportunities, give them a chance to do something so that they can show off their skills, because it's just the language that's holding them back more than anything once they have their degrees evaluated. And the last one is mentors. We need to find mentors, and that is in everything that we do. Every time you meet a business, every time you talk to a new business, you can't let them go. Keep you in their mind all the time. Navigate. The first document in the resources It talks to you about identifying engagement, intake and assessment, individual training for them, their ITech plans. Are you working with their ITech plans? Are you monitoring and reviewing? And I'm just going to say one thing about the last one, closing. Sometimes closing isn't nice and sweet and with a bow on it. Sometimes closing could be months later when they come back and say, oh no, it didn't work out. I tried, I interviewed, I'm not doing something right. Career navigators, you've got to give yourself that chance to get back into their world and allow yourself to help them with polishing one more last thing. Connecting. Connecting is always aligning their goals, just like with Eunice. We were aligning her goals, but you know what? She was doing a better job than we were about aligning her goals. Possible post-secondary needs, give them options. Possible further training. We don't offer that here, but this place offers it. Internships. I'm going to give you just one example. We were invited to Borderplex conference, and they were meeting with a lot of businesses. And the businesses there were saying that they were going to offer internships. If we had not been invited, we would have not met those people. And that is the connections that you need. Advancement in a current company. You know what? A lot of these people love their new jobs, but they can move up and get paid what they're worth. That's hugely important. Or just starting all over again. You're going to have to help them search for a job that's going to be worth it to them. This is my reference materials. I'm not going to go through each one. I'm just going to go through reference material number 2 and reference material number 3, because you will see other areas where I will share. Breaking the ice is called Introductions on Speed for me. I used to call it speed dating. It's when you speed date, you just want to find people really fast and see if there's any connection and what can they do, you know, what do they fit? That's what I do in 2 minutes, every orientation. I meet with all of the people that say that they are internationally trained professionals. I meet with all of the people that are in Spanish GED. I meet everybody that's in an IET. I meet everybody that's in English GED, because somewhere in those people, I find every time someone that's in the wrong place, somewhere, not by that we made a mistake, it's just that they didn't share enough with the registrars. So this is like a nice little cleanup to be able to do everything right. On my little breaking of the ice, if you can look at, it's called services offered. Sign up for career navigation, making careers a reality. You got to pump them up of what you can do for them, because that's what they're looking for. They need us to do something for them right now. So that's my breaking the ice. I talk to them real quick. I tell them all the things that are on my little list. I give them a little card. I give them my business card as well. And that's my speed dating for internationally trained professionals. Number 3 is NACIS. NACIS is not an organization that does the evaluations for their documents. It is an organization that it talks about a lot of things, but it does bring a whole group of people that do the evaluations. And there's a list of a lot of evaluation services. I can only give you information about Spantran because that's the credentialed service that we use. But you can definitely look, and I'm pretty sure all of these companies are great, better, some maybe not as good. You've got to search. You've got to be the searcher of that. In my real world, I do those 4 goals. I follow those 4 goals. The first one is access. I am very fortunate to work here because my administrative staff allows me to be in meetings. So I get to meet people that work in the Office of New Americans. I get to work with local workforces because you need to be in that forefront to be able to know what they're capable of doing. And sometimes they might go to those meetings and they look at the meeting differently than a career navigator would look at it. They're looking at it in terms of an administrative side. You're going to be looking at it as to who maybe under them is going to help you. When I work with the local workforce, I used to spend Fridays over there all the time because you want to make some personal connections with the workforce. Because then when you're calling them on the phone, they put a face to that phone call and they know you are really wanting to help somebody. You also need to talk about things that happen naturally to you. And I'm going to talk about Griselda. Griselda is with us right now, and she is a social worker. And in my conversation with her, she told me, I want to do social work, but in order to be a good social worker, you have to have networks. And I am out of the loop with networks in a new country. Sometimes social workers have really awful hours. I really need to be home with my children when they come home from school. Because of my K-12 background, I was able to remember that we have a business called Communities in Schools, which is basically social work in campuses. I called a colleague and I said, can you help me? And I explained what internationally trained professionals was. And I said, and she wants to be a good social worker, but she knows that the most important area is to be a networker. She said, well, I'm working with UTEP on this. And so let me see if UTEP will let her in. A couple of days later, she says, guess what? UTEP says, no problem. Within 1 week, Griselda was in signing her papers, has a great internship with UTEP and CIS, and she starts January in the new semester. So that's a story of using your background also. Teaching them English. My first meeting is always in their native language, and I have to give you a little bit of a disclosure. I'm as Hispanic as they come. Just look at me. My name is Anaya. I have lived in El Paso my whole life. Unfortunately, my Spanish is mediocre, but it doesn't mean you cannot communicate. We come up with all sorts of things when we're talking together, pictures and their documents and humor to find our common ground to be able to communicate. However, in my third meeting, it's all about English because then I am holding them back. What they have to know is my first and second meeting, it's setting some ground rules and some safe place ideas so that the third meeting, they know they have to do their very, very best.
We do have a question. What can we do if we have students who say that they have a credential from their country, but they are unable to provide either an official or even a copy of that degree or credential?
I'm gonna give you an idea because it happened to me this week and NACIS. So when you find an organization that you're going to use that your program allows you to use for evaluations of their documents, due to COVID, a lot of these people are doing some major background work for you. You can also go to west.org and they can help you as well. Helping them understand how to navigate in the US. My second meeting is all about gathering all of their documents. So when you're worried about all of that, you have to be constantly looking to make sure they're going to be placed in the right place. So my conversation with this person would be, we have an English class for you so that you can improve your English. Plus, I would be giving them the resource page and letting them know where they can have even their high school diplomas evaluated. It's less expensive than getting a college degree evaluated, but yet they still need it to get a job. Instead of having a GED, they already have a high school diploma. So my conversation with this person would be giving them information immediately. And then I've hooked them in for other programs because they're going to need me maybe for something else. You let them know that their papers are going to be expiring at this date and that they're going to have to be keeping up with it. It's just kind of like my administrative license. My administrative license, I knew that it would only last for 5 years. If I renewed it before the 5 years was up, I was good to go another 5 years and I didn't have to take any tests again. If you let it go, then they may charge you the whole thing all over again. So I hope those documents help you understand what it looks like to have their degrees evaluated. Advocate. My first year on the job, I was asked to join our PD coordinator to present at the workforce board meeting. And they were going to talk about addressing the needs of skilled immigrants. It doesn't matter what you present. The networking you can build, the relationships you can build just by going somewhere and meeting people are going to help our students. And that's what we have to have an open mind about. Every time we're talking to people, we're networking for our students. AEL, these are the resources I use every time I meet with them the second meeting. Foreign credentialed evaluation service list, working in Texas, own it online. The last one is networking, and it's also basically the same thing. Partner referrals with our board, Borderplex. I send students to them to help them find jobs. They send me internationally trained students. So their vocabulary is also improving by understanding who these people are. They also send me, of course, every program that we have, but it's that connection of being able to pass people back and forth to each other. Advocate. Let me go back to Griselda. If it hadn't been for former connections, we wouldn't have been able to build an internship for Griselda. But now Griselda is going to be part of a great internship, and I hope I don't lose out on CIS and on UTEP to build more people in that area of social work, especially in Latin America and in El Paso. We have a lot of people who are attorneys in their country, but they will never be attorneys in our country unless they go back to school. But they always tell me, I can do social work. So now if I can keep this internship going, it's going to be a great partnership. Mentors. So I'm going to talk about two things. This particular gentleman came in. He had worked in El Paso for 27 years in a very prestigious company. New management, we all know things change. We're going to change. You're not going to be able to work here anymore. He comes desperate. I need a job. I have never even made a resume because I came in at a time when you didn't need it. And so the resume that you see, career navigators, you know you don't have time. This is just straight from Microsoft Office. It's a template. Yes, it takes time to work with a student to be able to fill it in and make it look really great. But they have a lot of choices. They find the one that works best for them. We filled it in. We made it happen. Guess what? He got a job. He is now going to be working for, again, he's going to be the second man in control of something very similar to what he was doing. And now I told him, please don't forget us. Now you're going to be the boss. Can I send people to you? Because I see these kinds of workers, and can you be a mentor to them? And he is like, don't worry, Miss Anaya, I'm not going to forget you. My actual second meeting is just a conversation. We talk about their short-term goals, their long-term goals, about their degrees, what I think might happen. If they're an attorney, I kind of know, let's start thinking about something else. Or are you going to go to college and start it and become an attorney? I'm not going to close any doors for you, but these are little small conversations. And it's not a small conversation. This is the one time that I know I have to set 1 hour aside for the student. And that is my norm. Some are faster, some are slower. I'm just going to let everybody know, I'm going to set up the stage. When I asked you guys, can we do it all? We can't. But sometimes your conversations, you have to know what you're looking for so that you can hit as many of the areas as possible to be able to give them the best information you can. This was a conversation, very recent conversation. I don't even think I spent 10 minutes with this person. but I was able to hit over 6 areas that we need to hit. Olga, you want to start?
Hi, Miss Anaya. Sorry I was late to our appointment, but I wanted to stop and order you a sandwich. Then I decided to get one for myself because I got hungry. So I stayed to eat my sandwich.
So we know they're always late, okay? But she had a good reason. She wasn't bringing donuts. She was bringing me a sandwich. Hi, Carolina. You make me laugh because here you stop to get me a sandwich, but you can eat a sandwich because you look like that. She's gorgeous. I, on the other hand, have no business eating a sandwich because I look like this, 20 or 30 pounds heavier than her. I have documents that are here for you. I was showing her her high school documents. I answered, what happened, Carolina? Why did the ISD not accept the college degree documents that you have?
The district said they needed proof of my high school diploma. How do I explain to them what this is? Do I say this is a GED?
No, you're going to have to explain to the district that this is not a GED, but a high school diploma that has been determined to be equal to a diploma of an accredited senior high school. The document states below that it is equivalent to a 12 years of elementary and secondary education.
I'm glad this is not a GED.
Just as a reminder, Carolina, make sure that they attached your high school diploma and your college diploma in your application. They have to know that you are a college graduate because this could determine the positions you can apply for and the salary you want to receive.
Thank you, Miss Anaya, for all your help today and all the times you met with me. I will definitely call on you to let you know what happens with the school district.
I gave you this because I wanted to let you know there's always humor because that makes people feel comfortable. We looked at her transcript that was evaluated because there might have been something not quite right. We talked about our academic systems in the United States, why they're asking her for what pieces. They're always looking for that GED because they don't know about the other documents. Cultural awareness. There's still a stigma of GED, but in her case, she needs to show that she has a high school diploma. EL civics, she needs to be her own advocate. She needs to say, I am, I have, and she needs to be aware that money is attached to her degrees. And I will say that in my conversation with her, that I said, Carolina, you still need to really work on that English because I could hear her. And if anything's going to keep her from getting the job, it's that one thing. And that conversation took 10 minutes.
Marie, there was a question from Evangeline that says, do you have a tracking tool for all the students that you consult with?
I do. I have always put things on index cards and I keep my index cards. I know I have to move into the next century and we use OneFlow. So I can put my case notes in OneFlow if I just want to be able to access them. Teams has an area now where you can put your case notes. So it keeps an awareness and you can always go to that. But I don't like to be behind the computer when I'm talking with a student. There's some things I have to be behind a computer when I'm scanning their document. So I'm looking at their document and I'm showing them, does this look good to you? Things like that. But it's up to you, really. It's your conversations, your notes, your way of being to be able to write down what you might forget or that you might need to do before your next meeting. Well, I personally just would like to say that I hope you can adapt the materials. I hope you look at the protocols. Everyone has a boss and all directors are wonderful and they all have different ideas. And it's our job as a career navigator to make sure that those ideas come to fruition. So thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Marie, for sharing your perspective on working with ITPs. We appreciate all the information, and you're getting a lot of comments. Thank you for all the resources. This was a great presentation, really helpful. Thank you so much. It was very helpful. So great job, Marie. We appreciate the sharing, and I'm sure that all the career navigators throughout the state appreciate this, because every time we come to a session, we learn just something new that's going to help us help our students. And that's why we're here, right?